So, as I'm sure many of you can relate to, I was nervous at the thought of getting into a relationship after divorce. First of all, I was worried I would choose poorly again. Goodness knows I did the first time. I was worried that I was too damaged, that I wouldn't be able to trust again, and that everything that had happened to me would either cause a good man to run away or would sabotage the relationship before it even got off the ground. Perhaps most of all, though, I was worried about feeling that pain again after, going through something so intense. I didn't want that to happen again. And as strange as it may seem, I was even afraid of being afraid of the pain, meaning that I would get into a relationship, but that I'd be so afraid of getting hurt again that I'd build, huge walls and would refuse to be vulnerable. And that's no kind of relationship at all, isn't it? So one day, though, I had kind of an epiphany, and this was actually after I was remarried, but just a situation that gave me sort of a different way to think of subsequent relationships after divorce. So I'm going to share that with you. So it all has to do with a car. A few years ago, I was able to So it all has to do with a car. A few years ago, I was finally able to purchase a new car after I'd gotten out from under the mountain of debt that my ex left me with. And I was so proud of this car, even more so than normal, because it represented my freedom. It represented my ability to thrive and to come back. And so I took great care of this car. And like many of you, I'm sure with your new cars, I was careful about, where I drove it and where I parked it and what kind of roads I would take it on, because I didn't want that perfect paint to be damaged. And I enjoyed it, but it was also stressful driving that car around because I had to maintain that perfection. Well, one day after I'd owned the car for about 9 or 10 months, I walked out from the gym back to the parking lot and found that somebody had scraped the bumper pretty badly, in fact. And, at first I was upset, I was angry, I was disappointed. And then my next reaction was surprising. I was actually a little bit relieved because that stress that I had held for the first 9 or 10 months of maintaining that perfection was gone. I still had a perfectly functioning car, but now it was real. I didn't have to worry about maintaining that perfect paint anymore. And then it made me realize that's kind of how I see my marriage now versus my first marriage. The first marriage, I was so concerned about it being perfect, which was how I saw it. And so anything that threatened that perfection, I wasn't able to see, and I would just immediately discard it. It was too scary. Whereas with the divorce, yeah, there was damage done, and that's the reality of it. I don't see that as necessarily a bad thing. It's just signs of living. But now what it means is I'm not threatened anymore by things that, that damage that illusion of perfection, because I know that that's not real. And now I'm able to accept the truth, the real truth. And I think that's pretty beautiful.